Hemoglobin is the iron-containing oxygen transport metalloprotein present in red blood cells of almost all vertebrates as well as the tissues of some invertebrates. Hemoglobin in blood carries oxygen from the respiratory organs to the rest of the body. There it releases the oxygen to permit aerobic respiration to provide energy to power functions of an organism in the process called metabolism. A healthy individual human has 12 to 20 grams of hemoglobin in every 100 milliliters of blood. In mammals, the chromoprotein makes up about 96% of the red blood cell's dry content and around 35% of the total content. Hemoglobin has an oxygen binding capacity of 1.34 milliliters O2 per gram, which increases the total blood oxygen capacity 70-fold compared to dissolved oxygen in blood. The mammalian hemoglobin molecule can bind up to 4 oxygen molecules. Hemoglobin is involved in the transport of other gases. It carries some of the body's respiratory carbon dioxide as carbaminohemoglobin, in which CO2 is bound to the heme protein. The molecule also carries the important regulatory molecule nitric oxide bound to a thiol group in the globin protein, releasing it at the same time as oxygen. Hemoglobin is also found outside red blood cells and their progenitor lines. Other cells that contain hemoglobin include the A9 dopaminergic neurons in the substantia nigra, macrophages, alveolar cells, lungs, retinal pigment epithelium, hepatocytes, mesangial cells in the kidney, endometrial cells, cervical cells, and vaginal epithelial cells. In these tissues, hemoglobin has a non-oxygen carrying function as an antioxidant and a regulator of iron metabolism. Excessive glucose in one's blood can attach to hemoglobin and raise the level of hemoglobin A1c. Hemoglobin and hemoglobin-like molecules are also found in many invertebrates, fungi, and plants. In these organisms, hemoglobins may carry oxygen, or they may act to transport and regulate other small molecules and ions such as carbon dioxide, nitric oxide, hydrogen sulfide, and sulfide. A variant of the molecule, called leg hemoglobin, is used to scavenge oxygen away from anaerobic systems, such as the nitrogen-fixing nodules of leguminous plants, lest the oxygen poison the system. Hemoglobinemia is a medical condition in which there is an excess of hemoglobin in the blood plasma. This is an effect of intravascular hemolysis, in which hemoglobin separates from red blood cells, a form of anemia. The function of hemoglobin in the human body. The function of hemoglobin in the human body is primal for the survival of the cells. Hemoglobin is a vital component of the blood, responsible for transporting oxygen from the lungs to the body's cells and carrying carbon dioxide back to the lungs for elimination. Without it, our bodies simply could not function properly. What is hemoglobin? Hemoglobin is a compound protein found in red blood cells and is made up of 4 globulin proteins linked together, each with an iron ion at its center. It is that iron ion that allows hemoglobin to bind to oxygen and transport it through the body. What happens if its levels are low? Without an adequate level of hemoglobin in the blood, serious health problems can arise. Anemia, for example, is a condition in which a person has a low hemoglobin level and, as a result, cannot carry enough oxygen to their cells. This can cause fatigue, weakness, and shortness of breath. Hemoglobin as an indicator of health problems. But hemoglobin can also be an indicator of more serious health problems, such as heart disease or kidney problems. Elevated hemoglobin levels may indicate heart disease, while low levels may be a sign of kidney problems or an iron-deficient diet.